So hello everyone. Now today we are going with the question numbers 11 to 20. The stretch questions. There is 10 question. Let's begin. 11th question is in how many ways we can execute the Node.js. So we can execute the Node.js in two ways. One is called REPL and one is with the file system. I will explain what is REPL. REPL means we can say read, evaluate, print and loop. So what does it mean? I will explain the code. Suppose if you go here to the Visual Studio and if you type the node and if you press enter over here, so we will get the REPL, so which will read, evaluate, print, and loop. So suppose if you write console.log over here, hello, mistake, again I will write, you will get the hello. So this is one way, and other way is you can write the same code over here, console.log, hello, save the file, and you exit with pressing Control X. You clear the screen with the command key in the Mac. So node index. So you will get the allo. This is the two way to execute the JavaScript in a node environment. Next question is explain Node.js runtime components, which is responsible for execution of JavaScript. As I told you, there are many modules, many components, but I already explained a few in the previous questions. The first one, what I explained is mm, we have a built-in modules, we have V8 engine, we have modules, we have event loop, and non-blocking input and output. So these are the components in the Node.js runtime. So the 13th question is explain Node.js open source code. Explain open source code means we have mainly, I will explain the mainly three part in this. So one is deps, DEPS, you can say deps, and one is SRC and one is libs. What deps does is it's an tool, it's a main tool which Node.js will take a few parts of the code as a tool to execute for networking, for file handling, and for the operating systems connections. And where comes the SRC, which is the heart of the we can say heart of all this networking and all, where the code lives over there, where the manufacture, where the cooking process take place is called SRC. And one more is the lib, where the developers or the user use the end product by, for example, if you want to execute the path module, so we can use that path over there. And one more thing is hmm, okay, okay, that's it for this runtime open source code. Next question is, let's move to the next questions. The 14th question, what is the difference between browser and node? As I told you, browser, which has limited access, which has only V8 engine, and in the node, we have more than V8 engine with the V8 engines. File system accessing, path of the files, networking, so on. Next question, 15th, what are modules in Node.js? Modules we can define as each file in the Node.js which is separate and independent. So we can call it as an encapsulation. What is encapsulation? Showing the hiding the complexity of the system and showing the required functionality is called as an encapsulation. Yeah, I think this made you clear. This made you people clear about this question. Next question is 16th. What are types of modules in Node.js? We have three types: local modules, built-in modules, and third-party modules. First, we will go for the 17th questions, that is local modules. Local modules are the standard. Sorry, it's a code. A local modules means the files in the Node.js which you will write and reuse every time. For example, um, if you write the middleware for the authentications, whenever the API request comes, it will go for that modules and execute the code and come back. So this is the local modules, means each files is defined as a local modules and we can reuse that. So I will explain you in the code base. So this is the modules. We can say this console.log. If I execute this code and this will print, this is separate and individual. Okay. So if I want to execute another app.js, so if I do console log this app.js, execute in app.js, it says app.js because both side files are independent and separate. That's what I explained in what is uh, modules in Node.js. So next question is, what is CommonJS? CommonJS is a standard that tells how the module should be structured and shaped. For examples, there are two files here, the index and app.js. If I want to pass the data which is present in index to the app.js or app.js to index.js, so how can we do that? So with the use of CommonJS, we have a require object here, which will define the path. This path is app.js. If we save, if we run the node.js of index.js, node index.js, see. If we debug this code, first we'll go here and here. If we start from here, we have a debug tool over here, run and debug. So if you step into this, what will happen? Just see. If you step into this, if you go for the debugging console, if you step into this, yes, yeah, we can see that this got printed. And again, if you step into this, again it will come to this page and will print this hello. So this is how the we can use the CommonJS to share the file throughout the applications, and also we can share the particular functions also that I will explain you in the next steps. Now I think you got is the what is a CommonJS? CommonJS is a standard that tells how the module should be structured and shaped. So this will tell how the module should be structured and shaped. So I will be sharing you how the module should be structured. What is module.export in the case, or since it's directly explaining the things. So what is the 19th question? So what is the difference between the module.export and use direct path in Node.js? I already told you this is the direct path which we used already. Now, if I want to add the module.exports, so what happens is I will define a function called add. This is the arrow functions. Sorry, this is the arrow functions where we are returning by adding two numbers, and we will pass the parameters and we'll send the argument to the parameters by sorry, first we will export this. Okay, first what if I do like if I const sum is equals to add, and if I pass two parameters like 2 comma 2, and if I console log this, so go to the terminal, node app.js, we got 4. The same thing should be called in index.js. So what we will do, we will use the standard of modules of CommonJS. So in the CommonJS, we have an export module. It says module dot sorry module dot exports is equals to add. So we are exporting this and we are importing directly over here, which receives the object for us. Addition or add. This would be very good. Right. So we can pass the variable from here itself. Okay. Const sum 3 comma 3, and we'll print the return value, some value sum. So if I run node index.js, you can see 6 and app.js. Okay. So I think you got my point, what I'm trying to explain here. So if we debug this, you will get what's happening inside this. To start debugging, debug. So as soon as I call these functions, it will step into this uh, app.js. Inside the app.js, you can see the first statement is app.js, console log.app.js. So it's printed over here. And the next step is we are passing, if I step over, and we got the details from index.js, that is 3 comma 3, that is 6, and it's get exported. And if we step into this, okay, this is step into this. Okay, it will come here and it will receive all the details and will print 6. After that, we'll get hello. So this is the sequence how this executes. Okay, this is the difference between the uh, module.exports and using direct path in Node.js. Next question is 20th. What is node.export? This is a class or object or method. The module.export is actually it's an object. We'll receive the object whenever we call this one. Okay. This is the end of this session. So we'll be continuing the next questions in the next session. Thank you. Bye everyone.